Hey guys, I'm back again and I'm here to do my January 2023 wrap up. I'm so excited to talk about these 4 books that were very good for a starting off a year reading, even if I did start reading them very much the last 10 days of the month of January. Couldn't be helped. I was sick. So let's start with the first book which I read, which was this one, which is I Am Not Sidney Poitier. And this was a buddy read that I did with my friend Patrice Jones. Patrice and I started reading Percival Everett together in, I think it was 2019. No, sorry, in 2020, we read So Much Blue. And then we quickly decided to read a better one, which was Erasure, which we read in August of 2020. And so last year we decided to start reading I Am Not Sidney Poitier. And what wound up happening was I got sick, so I couldn't finish it until the month of January, the end of January. And so here we are. And I Am Not Sidney Poitier is the story of a young man who's called Not Sidney Poitier, who inherits a bunch of money from his mother after being raised virtually inside most of the time because his mother didn't like to go out. And what we have is a young, rich black man who's being raised by a white man called Ted Turner. Okay, the humor in that, the humor in that. This essentially becomes a story about what it is to be a black man and how Not Sidney Poitier learns some of the ways that people look at black men and how that affects him as a young man growing up, trying to find his way with no guide, really. He doesn't get a guide until a little bit later on in the book. Okay, with all that being said, the book is pretty much told like a linear story, but more like a journey story or a coming-of-age story. If you know anything about Sidney Poitier and his movie career, you will be enchanted by this. You'll think it's very funny. The satire is priceless. I mean, I don't know. He was born to write satire, Percival Everett. I feel like if you've read The Trees, you're on to the that's like, really good. This is really good too, though. So I feel like this is one would be great to go and read after having read The Trees if you're trying to go through the backlist. There's another one that also is really, really good, and that's Erasure. And so good. So you could either go from The Trees to this one or The Trees to Erasure. Highly recommended. I gave this 4 stars. Okay, the next book on my list that I read was this one right here, which is called La Joie de Vivre. And this is basically just that. It's a story about the joy of living, or that is the lack of joy in living. So this story focuses on a character who's called Pauline. And we see Pauline for the first time back in, I think it's book number 3. I think it's called Le Ventre de Paris, or The Belly of Paris in English. In that book, Pauline is a child. She's like maybe 8 or something like that. And in this book, Pauline is a little bit older, but she's still not a legal adult yet. I think she might be like 14 or 13. And both of her parents are dead. And she inherits a ton of money. And she is subsequently sent to the countryside to live with some cousins who are going to take care of her and her money. Child, they take care of the both of them, her and her money, okay? But I ain't going to say nothing else. But this book is like a very interesting look at what it is to be joyful in living, because people, they want, but they're not really living. They're not even living joyfully, much less they're just sort of going from one thing to the next. They're not really understanding what living a joyful life is. It seems that Pauline thinks she knows what the joy of living is, but she's maybe the character that has the most simplistic thoughts about living joyfully, but the most sane ones of all the people that we see in the book. This book was so good, but it had me mad as hell, like mad as hell. Even when it ended, I was mad as hell. But that's what Zola does to you, somebody. He can make you, that's what he does to you, is he makes you mad as hell when you're reading a book. Mad as hell. Okay, the next book on my list is this one right here, which is Shame on Me, An Anatomy of Race and Belonging. And this was the Read So Lit book club pick for the month of January. And essentially this book was a gift from Mel, from Mel's Bookland Adventure. Thank you again, Mel, for offering me this book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The ladies in the book club as well, they enjoyed it. This has been an interesting read because of the way Tessa McVaught goes about telling her stories. So she is discussing her multicultural family through the parts of the body, from the hair to the lips to the nose to the eyes to the skin. And in doing so, she is trying to grasp and understand race through her family, but essentially understanding some of the things that she was not very clear on, that she becomes clear on from writing this nonfiction book about her family. It's done really well. Like I said, each section is a part of the body. So for example, you have the nose. You also have a section on the eyes. And then you have tons of pictures of the family with throughout the book. It's just done really, really well. I highly recommend it. I think it's a very interesting book. And not only that, but it's a very interesting book to talk about with a buddy reader or buddy readers. I highly recommend it. And not only that, Tessa McVaught's writing is absolutely stunning. She's a very, very beautiful writer. So I'm interested in seeing how does she write fiction. That's what I would be intrigued in reading next. I gave this one 4 stars. And last but not least, I read this one, Jane Eyre. This one I read for the Read So Lit read along that we did in January to get ready for Wild, Beautiful, and Free by Sophronia Scott, which is a retelling of Jane Eyre where the characters are primarily Black. And oh my God, this is my 3rd reading of Jane Eyre. I just love this book. 5 stars. I mean, I love it. I will just always love the story. It's a bit sad. Okay, it is profoundly sad in places. But besides that, I find it just a really good story that sucks you in, that's well written. And I love the way Charlotte Bronte in the story speaks directly to the reader. I just think that is a lovely touch to this particular story. Now, there were some things that I have forgotten, like how annoying St. John was. Bruh, so annoying, that character. Like, annoying. Ugh. I had forgotten that. I was like, oh, this is a blip. This dude right here getting on my nerves. But other than that, I really did enjoy the story. Now I need to read Jean Rice's second part to this, or should I say prequel or whatever, to Jane Eyre, because I haven't read that yet. But I highly recommend this. If you haven't read it, please do. And if you're not thinking about reading Wild, Beautiful, and Free, I suggest you read Wild, Beautiful, and Free. And reading Jane Eyre will get you prepared for that if you don't know the story. If you don't want to read Jane Eyre, and what I suggest you do is maybe read a synopsis or summary of the book of Jane Eyre before you read Wild, Beautiful, and Free by Sophronia Scott. 5 stars. So, this is everything I read in January 2023. It's not a lot, but it's all good. It's all good. I can't complain. I hope that this month of February will be even more interesting than January. It is Read So Lit. I'll be coming back with some more videos really soon. Comment below and tell me which one of these you'd be interested in reading, or which ones you really, really liked if you have read any of these books. I hope to be back with you soon with another video. Bye.